Today in the state of Ohio, the state of Wisconsin, the state of Indiana, there are epic struggles underway where those who serve the public, who teach our children, who police our streets, who fight the fires, who perform a myriad of services at a state, county, and municipal level, are under attack. Their wages are under attack, their benefits are under attack, their pensions, their working conditions, and these public workers are being made the scapegoats in all of the budget challenges which states face. They're now blaming the workers. Our whole economy has been turned into a somewhat efficient engine that takes the wealth of the American people and accelerates the wealth to the top. That, after all, is what our tax system is about. That's what Wall Street is about. That's what banking is about. That's what our energy policy is about. Taking the wealth of millions, giving it to a few oil companies. If you examine every area of our economy, you'll see that we're at a time in the history of America where the rich truly are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and the middle class is getting destroyed. Enter public workers, people who have dedicated their lives to public service, people who are truly public servants in the truest sense of the word, people who were told that if they agreed to public service that they would have certain guarantees, and so they dedicated their lives. Ohio has had a new governor, a person who I serve with in this House. And from the moment he has come into office, he and his supporters have run an agenda that is aimed at vitiating the rights of public workers, and this has resulted yesterday in the passage by a single vote in the Ohio Senate of SB 5, a bill that will strip collective bargaining rights just about across the board from public workers, that would take away public employees' right to strike, that would make the penalty for a strike removal with replacement workers, that will open the door to privatization of services. Now, my read of what's going on in Ohio, which is my home state, is this: that by attempting to crush public workers, by telling them you will not have any ability to negotiate your benefits, you will not have any ability to negotiate your working conditions, your health benefits, your pension, these provisions are not subject to discussion. The number of people working with you at any time, not subject to discussion. That what's happened is that we have seen accomplished an economic attack on workers, which will lead to them working for less, but opening the door to privatization scheme, which, Mr. Speaker, works like this. You make public workers the issue, say that they're paid too much when, I have here a matter for the record from the Economic Policy Institute, which says that Ohio public sector workers are undercompensated compared to private sector counterparts. But facts, unfortunately, mean little in this debate. But you tell the public that these public workers are overpaid. And then what you say, and this new law, Senate Bill 5, would enable the state of Ohio to do this. You then say, well, we're going to privatize this section of the workforce. We're going to put the work out for bids. We'll get a private company in here to do it. And oh, we promise it'll be done more efficiently. And while the taxpayers then go to sleep, they wake up one day and they discover that what's happened is this, that they have permitted a privatization of their services, and they end up inevitably paying more and getting less. The corporations walk away with the profits. The privatized workers get paid less in order to enable the corporations to make more money. So ultimately, what Senate Bill 5 in Ohio will do is end up costing the state government even more. It's not going to be any savings when you set the stage for a weakening of workers, when you set the stage for making it illegal for them to strike and then knocking them out with replacement workers and then setting things on a path to privatization. That's what this bill is about. You look in Wisconsin, and I believe it was Paul Krugman and others who pointed out that in Wisconsin there was a provision in the Wisconsin budget where, from the governor of Wisconsin's bill, it says sale or contractual operation of state-owned heating, cooling, and power plants, saying that the department may sell any state-owned heating, cooling, and power plant or may contract with a private entity of the operation of any such plant with or without solicitation or bids. So you could have a private contractor just give it away without any bids at all. They're power plants that serve facilities in the state of Wisconsin. This is the kind of thing that we can expect in Ohio, except that in this case we're talking about the privatization of public services. Now, privatization of public services is, in a way, it's well established here already, unfortunately. And the AFL-CIO Public Employee Department produced a paper which talks about when you get into privatization, the public ends up having really little accountability on the question of public funds. And they point out that private business has no business allocating public funds or monitoring the use of public funds. There's a question of fiscal accountability. Look, we know that when there are massive amounts of money available that goes from the public sector to the private sector, let's take Iraq or Afghanistan with respect to contracts, billions of dollars disappear, get wasted. It ends up being a racket. Reduce it to a state level, and you have the potential for fraud. You have a weakening of the community ability to assert collective interests. And as I said, the resulting savings that taxpayers are being told will occur are actually directed to the corporations so they can get higher profits. Privatization is inevitably a racket. When, as a member of Congress, in my home district in Cleveland, the Defense Finance Administration wanted to privatize a number of accounting jobs in Cleveland. Mr. Speaker, I had a 7-year battle with the Defense Finance Administration where we proved that the taxpayers were getting taken for a ride in this privatization plan that was being promoted by our government to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. We reversed the privatization. Privatization is at the core of this battle in Ohio because the assets of the state are worth countless billions of dollars. If you could take a workforce, there's over 300,000, about 350,000 public workers in Ohio would be affected by SB 5. There is not a service that can't be privatized. But then the public doesn't have any control over it. They can't call up their